Chapter 12. The Epilogue. Yes, you have never really parted from the divine power which controls the universe, governs the life of man, and is the unseen basis of all existence. Is this not a helpful thought at a time like the present, when we live in a period of frank disbelief and cynical materialism? Results of the fact that the human race has been put on its Golgotha since 1914. Browning's rosy-tinted sentence, "God's in his heaven, all's well with the world," is read through black spectacles. We are wearily dubious about the existence of God and of his heaven, while the present aspect of the world seems to throw the lie in Browning's face. The serious literature of the last few years has become a literature of despair. The men who think and the men who write for something more than the mere entertainment of others have begun to see how significant are the challenging issues which time is rapidly bringing to a crisis. They see that the aureole glow which hung around the hopes of the entire world when the war ended has faded, and that we are left with a bewildering fog. They have been forced, despite themselves, to become reluctant harbingers of doom. They have today become croaking Cassandras prophetically warning humanity of coming woes. We leave the last page of their writings with a feeling of chill and an impression of deep pessimism. Who that watches the social and political edifices around us crumbling or crashing to the ground can doubt that he is watching the close of a great historical epoch? Today the tale of history has become the drama of the unexpected. We wait for the next fresh surprise each morning. The long-continued Manchu dynasty has made its exit from Peking, and the country which created the gold standard has gone off it. The only certain thing today is uncertainty. The caravan of life once wound through the ages like an endless procession, but nowadays it dashes along on high-speed engines. Mankind today is both hungry and haunted. Hungry for a better and brighter age, yet haunted by the heavy shadows of the past. The world seems willing to try every way but the right way. Troubled by the prospects of another war, perturbed by the chaotic political conditions of every continent, it rushes hither and thither in its quest of the perfectly efficient formula which will solve its economic and political problems. But the one perfect formula, the one infallible formula, though within its grasp, is beyond its vision, and that is the golden rule: do unto others what you would have them do unto you. The crying need of the world today is not for a change of head, but of a change of heart. There is no lack of ideas among us, rather the reverse, but there is a lack of goodwill. The feeling of goodwill will be the best insurance of universal peace. Who can gaze upon the spectacle of modern Europe and not remember the warning utterance of the prophet of Nazareth, an utterance which is written in fiery letters across the pages of history? Who can forget those terrible words of Jesus when he stood upon Mount Olive and indicated the chief city of Jews? O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou hast killest the prophets, and stonest them which are sent unto thee. How often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathered her chickens under her wings, and ye would not. We must stand for a while, however, as did Clio, the historic muse in ancient times, with pen suspended, and not rush to set down judgment upon our age. For there is a plan behind the events which pattern the modern world's life, and unless man has learned to discern this plan, he cannot judge aright. The powers which guide the universe, which guard mankind and watch over the world, will speak to this century in tones much more forceful than mine, and demonstrate their existence through events far more startling than the publication of a mere book. Because we gaze around and we see the chaos that broods upon us, the foolish fear that God is dead or absent and that we are lost. Because no hand stretches forth from out of the great unknown to save mankind from its self-earned sorrows, they imagine there is no hand to help us. God could, if he willed, heal all the sorrows of this planet in an instant of time. But that would be to transform us into automations, to turn us into machine-made angels. Man, if he is to grow godlike, must do so of his own free will. And the guarantee that he will do so is the presence of a divine spark within himself. There are true voices in the heart, the voices of hope and goodwill, and these shall once more be heard. For the divine instinct in man is ineradicable. It may be covered up for a time, but it must one day well forth again. It is trite, but true, that man's extremity is God's opportunity. What applies to an individual applies equally to a nation, which is but a collection of individuals, and equally to the whole world, which is but a collection of nations. Social distress, economic anxiety, political chaos, all these are, after all, but the physical consequences of the lack of spirituality in the world. The world's extremity will prove to be God's opportunity, and the history of the 20th century will fully evidence this fact. The biblical story of the prodigal son has a world meaning as well as a personal one. And when the peoples are tired of their endless self-caused troubles, beaten by their Frankenstein monsters of scientifically waged wars that are mass massacres and disastrous economic plights that reveal their lack of goodwill, they will turn their faces homewards and set out on the journey back to a better life. And their Father, knowing this, will go towards them and meet them, kiss and comfort them, and reveal his unbroken love for them. Meanwhile, the supreme question still faces man. Dost know thyself? In this troubled and fateful time, the wise man will seek an unshakable foothold, whereon he can rest while the world whirls madly around him. Such a foothold cannot be found in any external place. It is only to be discovered in the secret depths of the heart. There, in the mysterious recesses of our own being, it exists, giving man a deeper strength and higher wisdom. The man who is wise with the wisdom of the overself and strong in its strength has other business in hand than passively waiting for new Armageddons or planetary cataclysms. There is no fear for the morrow for him who lives in this absolute trust, just as the sparrows have no fear for their morrows. He knows that the night will pass, and dawn, silent and irresistible, will roll back the world's darkness and once more flood it with light. When the truth about the hidden side of the universe and of man is once more unveiled, demonstrated so far as it can be in a scientific and rational manner, the new scientific findings will stagger the most powerful intellects. We shall then build a pillar of higher wisdom which shall rise up into a new and finer age, and we shall testify anew to those eternal spiritual truths which no advance of science, no progress of civilization, no lapse in human character can ever render obsolete. Meanwhile, each of us who practices this secret inner way can become a disseminator of the true light, can change himself and thus become fit to change others. It is to such men, inspired, selfless instruments, ready to work in the higher service of mankind, that we must look for the liberation of the world from its legacy of spiritual ignorance and material sufferings. Let us submit to the grandeur of the imperishable overself. Even when we cannot understand it or grasp its Himalayan attitude, let us nevertheless yield mind and heart and body to its august behests. Thus we enter into undying life and gather the immortal fruits of truth, wisdom, peace, and power. Let us offer ourselves to the powers that be, that they may use us to serve mankind nobly in the sphere that has fallen to us, however circumscribed it be. Let us silently give ourselves for the inner welfare of others, even as Christ has given himself for the welfare of this shadowed planet. Let us be true to the unseen purpose which the gods hold eternally before mankind. for there is everywhere present the divine life. Shall we betray it by denying its deathless existence, or shame it by despising its sublime monitions? May peace be with you.